Okay, thank you. I'd like to open this public hearing on the matter of the application of EFG Sabre Heritage SC LLC for for the continuation or extension of financial assistance to a project here involving the actually looks like there are two matters involved. They have an administrative building and a mixed-use building. Before the public hearing started, I had marked as hearing officers exhibit number 1 the notice of public hearing in this matter, indicating that this public hearing would take place today by Zoom conference on September 3rd, 2020 at 10 a.m. It is now just a couple minutes after 10 a.m. I had marked as hearing officers exhibit number 2 the affidavit from the Poughkeepsie Journal indicating that on 8/19/2020, a copy of the notice of public hearing was published in the Poughkeepsie Journal. I had marked as hearing officers exhibit number 3 the affidavit of Jenna L. Jones indicating that on August 20th, 2020, she served a copy of this notice of public hearing on the Honorable John J. Baisley, Supervisor of the Town of Poughkeepsie, Dr. Greer F. Reichik, the Superintendent of Schools of the Hyde Park Central School District, and on the Honorable Marcus J. Molinaro, the County Executive of Dutchess County. I had marked as hearing officers exhibit number 4 in evidence the August 17th, 2020 letter of Timothy Dean, Chairman of the Dutchess County Industrial Development Agency, appointing me the hearing officer in this particular matter. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Susan, on behalf of the applicant, would you like to at least give a brief description of what's going on?
Sure. So in the beginning, when we originally was induced, we didn't necessarily have tenants for the buildings. So we contemplated what we were going to build first. And since then, we've signed several leases, and now we have a better idea as to which buildings we're building. So we're not really changing anything. We've just rearranged what we're doing first. And also adding some work to the administration building. Originally, we were going to have that be potentially sold to a user, and that user would then sign up for their own IDA benefits. But right now we have to make that building watertight and replace the roof and do some restoration. So that's why we're adding that. And then after our original inducement, we realized that the supermarket, we included the supermarket in that, and then we realized that the supermarket was going to be owned by ShopRite, so they went and did their own IDA induction. So we want to remove that and take those benefits and put them to the additional buildings that we're building at this time. So
right.
Basically a shift.
Right. So you're just changing it. You're not asking for any more benefits, no more sales tax, no more mortgage tax, no more pilot agreement.
No, we're basically replacing the supermarket with other components of the development.
Okay, great. All right.
And Don, I want to make clear that this project does not have a pilot agreement.
It doesn't have IDA piloted.
IDA pilot. It's only the amendment to the mortgage and sales tax.
Right. And so, all right, with that, I'll open it up to members of the public. Anyone wants to speak on this particular matter?
Yes, this is Doreen Tignanelli. I would like to speak, please.
Please do.
Okay. I'd like to say that I'm opposed to the issuance of any financial assistance to the Hudson Heritage Project in any form. Also, I don't know, to me, this sort of has the appearance of a shell game. And the fact that the counsel for the applicant suggested that there was no need for a public hearing is troubling to me. The fact that they say, well, now we have this $568,750 in sales tax use exemptions that was previously authorized for the supermarket, and they say, well, now we can use that because ShopRite is now a separate entity. Well, but the IDA, from what I can see of these ShopRite documents, they gave a sales tax exemption in excess of $1 million to the ShopRite supermarket, and that supermarket is still going to be located on the Hudson Heritage Project site. So again, it's unclear why this $500,000 plus should be considered available for use by Hudson Heritage. And I also have concern about that the job numbers for the two projects could be intertwined, and then that would make it harder to determine the actual job numbers. And again, whether or not the clawback recapture provisions are in force. And again, that would be to the detriment of the taxpayers if they're not, because again, taxpayers are subsidizing these projects. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Doreen. Anyone else like to speak?
Yes, good morning. This is Jim Beretta. I would like to speak. So I submitted written comments, and Ms. Lee has informed me by email that those written comments were received. So I'll kind of summarize. I am opposed to granting of financial assistance for this project, and I outlined why in my written comments. I'm not going to go into that, but very specifically for what's going on here, I totally am not in favor of IDA money that's been previously granted being treated as fungible goods. And the way that I heard this outlined here, I mean, it sounds to me like there's double dipping going on with regard to the supermarket. The Hudson Heritage applicant, came in, and as we heard here, there were no named tenants, but there obviously was a concept of a supermarket. And as part of that concept, the IDA granted financial assistance, for a supermarket, even though it wasn't named. And now that supermarket has, as we've heard here, has gone forward to seek their own financial assistance through the IDA. So you've got double dipping going on. And so the aggregate amount that the IDA is giving out is now larger than what was first anticipated. So it needs to be zero-based. I mean, if funding was given with the premise of a supermarket and there is a financial amount that's given in the documentation, the letter of amendment that was submitted, that should be subtracted from the original amount. And if the applicant, wants to, come in and do this zero-based and, justify it all over again, then that's what should happen. And if these dollars are getting moved around under the covers, how can the IDA have valid metrics in terms of what you've loaned out and the benefit you're getting from it when things are moving around, under the table like that? So I'm opposed to this, and that concludes my comments. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'd just like to clarify a couple points. That the ShopRite facility was pulled out of the project approval and was treated separately, and all of the metrics involved in that were studied and approved by the board as a separate matter. So that changed the underlying deal, but the original approval did that. But here we're having a public hearing, and the board will be considering all of those comments. And so all of this is being done not under the table or under any covers. This is all being done out in the open. So everyone is allowed to speak and to try to justify their position, and we appreciate your comments. Okay. Anyone else have anything else to add?
Hi, this is Rebecca Edwards. If I could ask a question briefly or make a comment, and that, yes.
Go ahead. I mean, public hearings are generally not for questions, but go ahead.
Well, this is a question about the documents for today,
Go ahead, please.
who's been asked, how does one obtain the documents in advance of a public hearing to review them? They're not on the IDA website, I believe, the documentation for the hearings. And so I'm asking how one gets them, just to clarify.
Sarah?
So Rebecca, they were on the website. This is the public hearing notice was on the website, which describes the project. And then the original application is also on the website. And then any information that additional information can be requested.
Okay, so the two pieces of information, you're saying that the project description is on the projects page.
Is on the projects page.
And then you're saying that what's discussed today is in the meeting notice.
Yes, correct.
And are there additional documentation that one can get, but one has to write to the IDA and ask for it?
Yeah, they can, both Doreen and Jim have done this. They have just sent me an email and I have sent them what they have asked for.
Okay, and why would that additional information, why wouldn't the full information be put on the web so anybody who would like to know can prepare for the public hearing fully?
So the full information, in this case, the public hearing items are will be part of the board packet. The board packet has not been sent out.
Okay, so the board packet will be sent out for the next board meeting, and that will be made public on the website, or will just,
correct.
okay. But in advance of the public hearing, it's not practice to put that information out.
Yes, because the information is published in the public hearing notice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, with that, I will close the public hearing. Thank you very much.
Marilyn, can I get your last name, please?
Yerkes, Y-E-R-K-S.
And who are you with?
Dutchess County IDA CFO.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you very much.